You're listening to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast with Wendy Johnson, episode number 69.
Welcome to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast, where women come to be inspired and motivated to become the best version of themselves and elevate the quality of their everyday. Now, here's your host, certified life coach, Wendy Johnson.
Today's episode is about something that can fundamentally transform your life, your identity. Many of us feel stuck in who we think we are, boxed in by labels, past mistakes, or even by how others see us. But what if I told you that your identity isn't permanent? You can reshape it, grow it, and evolve into the person you truly want to be. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through what identity really means, why it's so important, and most importantly, how you can change it step by step. So let's dive in. What is identity? Our identity is a mental model, a story we tell ourselves about who we are. This includes the roles we play, like mother, friend, leader, our beliefs about ourselves, like I'm shy or I'm not a morning person, and the expectations we carry from family, culture, or society. Identity isn't static. Think about how you've changed over the years. Who you were as a teenager is likely different from who you are now. The key is to realize that we have control over these changes. Identity acts as a guide for our behavior. If you think you're not athletic, you'll avoid exercise or activities where athleticism is involved. But if you believe I'm someone who enjoys movement, you'll naturally seek out physical activities. We often lock ourselves into patterns because our identity feels like a cage. The truth, that cage is built on perceptions and stories, many of which are outdated and inaccurate. If you want to change your habits or behaviors, start by changing how you see yourself. The internal shift leads to external changes. Why change your identity? There is a feedback loop between identity and behavior. Your identity shapes your actions, and your actions reinforce your identity. For example, if you believe you're bad with money, you might avoid budgeting, which leads to financial disarray, reinforcing your belief that you are bad with money. Breaking this loop requires a shift in how you perceive yourself. Instead of focusing on the outcome, having more money, focus on being the type of person who manages money well. Why it's crucial to shift identity. If your identity doesn't align with your goals, progress becomes nearly impossible. You can set a goal to lose weight or be more organized, but unless you see yourself as a healthy person or someone who values order, it's going to be a struggle. Ask yourself, who do you need to become to achieve your goals? Start with identity, not just action. Let's look at someone who shifted their identity to achieve extraordinary results. JFK Rowling went from seeing herself as a struggling single mom to a world-renowned author. Her identity shifted, not because of fame, but because she embraced the identity of a writer, someone who perseveres despite rejection and obstacles. There's power of belief and self-talk. Beliefs shape identity. Henry Ford once said, whether you think you can or you think you can't. You're right. This quote highlights how beliefs control not just our outcomes, but our entire identity. If you believe you're not capable of success, no matter what steps you take, you'll sabotage yourself. Self-talk is crucial. Pay attention to how you talk to yourself. Do you say things like, I'm always late, or I can't stick to a diet? These statements reinforce negative aspects of your identity. To change your identity, you need to shift your inner dialogue. Instead of saying, I'm terrible at public speaking, start saying, I'm learning to be a better speaker. Next, you want to reframe negative beliefs. Begin to catch yourself when you engage in negative self-talk and replace it with a more empowering statement. I have an exercise for you. Write down 3 identity-related beliefs you currently hold that are limiting you. Then write down 3 empowering beliefs you'd like to adopt. For example, I'm not disciplined could become, I'm learning to be more consistent with my habits. Now I want to give you 4 steps to shift your identity. Step number 1, decide who you want to become. The first step in any identity shift is clarity. Who do you want to be? Not just in general terms, but in specifics. Do you want to be someone who's fit, calm under pressure, or financially responsible? Visualization helps here. Close your eyes and imagine the best version of yourself. What are your daily habits? How do you respond to challenges? What kind of people are in your life? Step number 2, align your habits with that new identity. Small daily habits are what transform identity. If you want to be a fit person, start with walking 10 minutes a day or drinking more water. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, a book I highly suggest you read, he notes that every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. So every small choice matters. Each time you make a choice that aligns with your desired identity, you strengthen that new self-image. Step number 3 is to act as if. This might sound like fake it till you make it, but it's deeper than that. You're not faking, you're practicing. If you want to be more confident, start by behaving as a confident person would. Stand taller, speak clearly, and engage with others as though confidence is already yours. If your new identity is someone who is brave in social situations, practice engaging with others as if you're already that person. Step number 4, surround yourself with people who reinforce your new identity. Your environment matters. If you're trying to shift your identity to become a healthier person, but you're surrounded by people who have unhealthy habits, the journey becomes harder. What you want to do is seek out a community that embodies the qualities you're looking toward. Whether it's online groups, in-person meetups, or even just having an accountability partner, these relationships help reinforce your new identity. Now I want to talk about overcoming obstacles to changing identity. First, internal resistance. Changing your identity isn't easy. Your brain is wired for comfort and familiarity. So when you start shifting, expect some pushback in the form of self-doubt or fear. Remind yourself that discomfort is part of the process. Growth often requires stepping into uncertainty and then external resistance. Sometimes people in your life will resist your identity change because they're used to the old you. They may unintentionally hold you back by reinforcing past behaviors. It's important to stay committed to your new path, even when others can't yet see or understand it. They'll come around once they see the new version of you consistently showing up. You may lose old friends, but you're making new friends. And eventually your old friends may come around and like the new version of you. To embrace your new identity, remember, identity change is a journey, not a quick fix. It's about consistent, intentional shifts over time. I want to leave you with an empowered message. You have the power to shape your future by reshaping who you are today. Who do you want to be in a year? In 5 years? Start today by making small choices that align with that vision. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this episode inspired you to start making identity shifts that will bring you closer to the life you want to live. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. I appreciate you being here. And until next week, have a great one. Here's to you and your success. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, you have to come check out More You, my community of like-minded women. We show up to create the highest version of ourselves and elevate the quality of our everyday along the way. Head over to ontraclifecoaching.com/join. That's ontraclifecoaching.com/join. I'd love to see you in there. And if you haven't grabbed your copy of the Mindset Makeover, head over to ontraclifecoaching.com/makeover and get a copy that teaches and inspires you to show up as your most extraordinary self.